As Firewalk Studios 5v5 team hero shooter Concord goes into its open beta, we look back on its early access beta and just how poorly it performed. And it was very, very bad on all fronts, not just from the number of players, but also from the feedback that people who actually played it provided about the game. Before we get to this, I'd like to ask you, please hit that subscribe button, hit that bell for notifications so you don't miss any of our future videos here at the Trent Report. Also, hit that like button. Let's get this video more eyes on it. Wrote this up over at thatparkplace.com. And the Concord Early Access Beta ran from July 12th through the 14th. And based on Steam DB data, the game's peak concurrent players capped out at 1,124 around 10 p.m. Eastern time on July 12th. From there, it significantly declined, dropping to 671 just 24 hours later on Saturday, July 13th. By Sunday, July 14th, the peak concurrent had fallen to 479 at 10 p.m. Eastern time. In fact, much of the weekend saw the number of concurrent players below 700. Absolutely disastrous. People were uninterested in playing this game whatsoever, even in an early access beta. In fact, when I wrote this article, the game was ranked 946 on SteamDB's most wishlisted upcoming Steam games chart, just barely within the top 1,000 games. You can see here it is sandwiched in between Forgery Craft and Project Survival. People are not interested in this game whatsoever. The early access beta, not really getting a lot of players playing. And then obviously here, wishlisting really, really down on the charts there. On top of the lack of interest in the game, and people actually just not playing it, the people that did play it were unimpressed. YouTuber Dreamcast Guy shared his thoughts in a YouTube video, which you can watch in the link in the description below. But he said this: it essentially feels like Walmart brand Overwatch. It's a hero shooter that doesn't really have any of that spark of crazy originality. So just absolutely roasting this game, torching it, basically saying it's just another knockoff of Overwatch. He then went on to share some positives, and he said, I do appreciate the art style, the coloring, the way the characters look, even the environments and stuff. This has a very Guardians of the Galaxy vibe that I absolutely eat up. The problem is that this cool coat of paint doesn't actually make the game fun. So there you go. The game is not fun. He's saying that the game is just not fun. It's supposed to be a game. You're supposed to be having fun playing the game. He's saying it's not fun. He then later noted the balancing is just radically, ridiculously bad. There are characters that feel like they are powered up beyond the necessary amounts. It never actually feels that thrilling. It just feels like another basic match of Overwatch, something that you can just do mindlessly without any real thrills or enjoyment. I never had like a nail-biting victory or anything like that. He even commented on the lack of players, noting he had over 5-minute queues just to get into a single match. Oof. Very harsh comments there. YouTuber Angry Joe also noted he was unimpressed by the game. He said, how is the game? It's mid. It's not worth $40. Everybody's saying this, and it's true. It would be great as a free-to-play game because, to be honest, it does have its moments. The graphics actually look good. It has some great character animations and some good facial expressions. There are high-quality cutscenes, even if the story is not all that interesting. So, the similar positives here from Angry Joe, similar to Dreamcast Guy. He then said the maps are not memorable. Pretty much every single other hero shooter has better maps. Overwatch, Marvel Rivals. These maps aren't very good, so that's a problem. And then finally, I didn't feel much of a sense of progression. We also had commentary from YouTuber Skillup. He also was unimpressed by the early access beta. He began with his positives. He said, by far and away, the biggest strengths of Concord are its solid mechanics and its innovative class kits, some of which are borrowed wholesale from Destiny, but remixing them in ways that feel like iteration rather than plagiarism. In these aspects, Concord really distinguishes itself and does make a compelling case why you might want to play this over Overwatch or Fortnite or Apex or Valorant or whatever. I think he says, but games like these are not measured by one or two of their elements alone, but rather by looking at the whole package. Visuals, level design, game mode, structure, progression, and monetization. In almost all of these areas, Concord does very little to distinguish itself, except in the fact that it's daring to charge $40 for a game that many consumers would expect to be able to play for free at this point. He then roasted the game, saying, Concord's levels are functional to the point of being rather lifeless. The game modes are highly derivative and do not seem to properly leverage the strength of the sandbox that Firewalk have built. The progression is slow and wholly uninteresting, centered on generic cosmetics like weapon charms and emblems. Most alarmingly, for a game out in just over a month, there's some seriously unfinished systems rolling around in here, like a character selection variant and team loadout system, all of which are so messy to understand and utilize, and that really feel like things that are designed to constrain your fun rather than enhance them. So absolutely torching the game, even noting that it has a number of game systems that are incomplete and constrain your fun rather than potentially enhance it. And then he literally just kind of goes through all of these very different things and basically says that they are subpar, bland, and at the end of the day, it sounds like he's calling them boring. YouTuber Endemian, he also shared his thoughts. He posted his on X, though. He says here, I tried Concord beta to see if it could win me over. Here's the positives and negatives. He then said the positives are it was a free beta. And then graphically, it looks nice in cutscenes. So again, that seems to be the biggest takeaway that people are getting. It has nice cutscenes. But then he went and listed off all of the negatives. Character movement feels sloppy and slow. Maps feel lifeless and boring. No character felt good to play. Customization is basic. Ugly character designs. Devere's, Duchess, and Daw are horrendous looking. Feels like an add-on that would be attached to a more complete game. Fights can snowball in one team's favor too easily, which again, I kind of points to that kind of issue with the parity and how they've adjusted the classes and things like that. And then obviously pronouns as well in the game. He says, overall, not impressed at all. Not sure what Sony is going for here with this, and genuinely concerned if this game will do well or flop. In my opinion, if they want any chance of survival in today's market, this has to be free to play at launch. $50 for what feels like a side mode in a more complete game is asking too much. Really worried about this one. So people who have played the game do not like it. And there weren't really a lot of people playing it to begin with. So this game is likely dead on arrival. They get what's coming to them because they completely embraced transgender ideology. They got all the pronoun stuff, and you know that they're going to have it in these cinematic vignettes that they've been promoting. That's like the biggest thing that they've been promoting, and you know that they're going to be pushing that stuff. And there's going to be lectures and like demoralization and all of that stuff. So I'm glad gamers are avoiding this, and the more people that avoid it, the better, because we won't be exposed to the evil indoctrination that they are trying to push on people. And then we also won't be exposed to the humiliation that they're trying to inflict on us as well. But those are my thoughts on this. Let me know what you guys make of this. Let me know in the comments below. Remember to always be charitable, but to always speak the truth.